Hey, my friends, Clark Brown here. I wanted to really share something cool with you. Sometimes if you do things that put stuff out in the world, maybe you're a restorer and you help people recover from their homes, it's almost like what's happening that you don't know? What impact are you making? What transformation or what emotion are you creating outside of your direct customer? Like maybe they were able to spend more time with their, whatever it is. So a really cool thing happened to me. And I just felt compelled to turn on this camera and share it with you because I actually like to remind us that the little things that we do, no matter how long ago it was, can change things. So I'm sitting here today working on writing some new coaching programs, and some new stuff that I'm working on for later in the year. Um, and it's interesting, the stuff I'm creating is alternative to what is common in the industry. I like to teach and challenge things. So I get this email from, I don't recognize the name, ends up being a woman from a restoration company in Iowa. you know, I didn't know that we had people in Iowa that read our stuff. Anyway, the email basically said, "Hey, Clark, you don't know me. I'm the office administrator and kind of like a job coordinator for a restoration company. We do about 1.5 million. We've really grown. We're working on things." She said that she came across our blog, our newsletter, some time back. She read something I posted and followed the Bray Trail, and she came to. I'm going to pull it up on the screen here. She came to this one that really stood out to her about the 4 minute mile. And this was written, I want to say that's 2 years ago. I wrote about the story of the 4 minute mile. And the short version of that story is for a long time, dating back to early Olympics, runners, competitors had been trying to run faster and make a mile and quicker. Everybody's time, it's all measurable. It's down to the seconds. Like a world record could beat somebody by 1 second. That's how close it was. Well, there was this in the early 1900s. There was this entire chase or goal that came up saying, what if we could get down to a 4 minute or less mile? And that became the goal. Well, most people said it's not humanly possible. Like, we're not made to run that way. Like, there are fast runners, but for over the course of a mile, there's limitations. Well, in the early 1950s, there's a gentleman named Roger Bannister, British, and he trained and trained and trained on certain types of soil and certain types of tracks. He eventually got to where he broke the 4 minute mile. He ran in like 3 minutes, 58 seconds and beat it. Shocked the world. The undone, the undoable had been done. It was the benchmark. Ironically, in the weeks that followed, the weeks or months, an Australian runner named John Landy broke his record. Why? Because it had become clear that what the mind told you wasn't possible really was. And the lesson in this story, and the lesson that came back to life and business, was our self-limiting beliefs, whether we're programmed from a previous life or exposure to things. We really are quick to say what can and cannot be done, but we're lying to ourselves. But we believe it, so it's not really a lie. It's just like a white lie. So John Landy beat, in just a really short period of time after, just by knowing it could be done, John Landy pushed himself harder and achieved it. And then consequently, over the next couple of years, that record was broken again 4 more times. So we shattered the ceiling to do that. Um, she had read that. And she also said she read a bunch of other things that we write about and some other people. So they're in restoration. They're trapped in this insurance game and this mindset of you must use Xactimate, you must negotiate or put up with TPAs and people cutting your bill. And she said when they started measuring, because I recommended one time in a blog, measure what you give back. Measure your original invoice. If you are creating invoices, not estimates, invoices, and then what you settle on and collect, keep up with that delta. Because I understand it happens. Sometimes you just give up a emergency service charge, a supervisor hours, or this or that or whatever. I'm not talking about when you deduct the invoice because maybe you broke a piece of equipment or you something like that. I'm talking about purely an insurance company or a TPA telling you they don't pay for X. They send a customer an invoice for less. The mindset of that, once you put a measurable on paper, and that she said that they saw that they literally gave away 1 to 2 people's salaries a year, people that could be business development, and they could not reconcile truly why they did it. And they stopped, and they're fine. And they just tell the carrier, we don't negotiate. They onboard the customer. They took our onboarding course. They do these things that people say is not possible. When I talk about these outlandishly alternatives, these big changes to how people do things, I'm met with all types of excuses. Some of them might be real. If you're on a program, you can't do that. But when people say I'm in California, that won't go here, I got to remind you that that's not true, because there are people in California I know that operate a business that way. I'm writing a business course right now. I'm writing a program right now about shifting to a retail mindset. Meaning you're not going to be a storefront. You're not going to be like Best Buy where you've got a storefront, but you're going to treat jobs like every other home service contractor does, and think retail. You present the scope and the price to the customer. They agree to sign the contract. You invoice them. It doesn't matter who they get paid from. They're going to pay you. People think that can't happen until they do it and try it and find out. Just asking for the customer for a deposit, you'd be amazed how many will do it. Some of them say, I don't have any money. You need to listen closely to that, because if they're telling you they don't have any money, that means that the carrier has them by the skinnies. Okay, so Xactimate. I've never used Xactimate. I use T&M. People don't think that's true until they see it's true, and then what else could be possible? So her email was really cool to know that someone was listening. And again, I'm not here to change your business because it does anything for me. I just listen and I just read, and I really tune into a lot of the cries and the concerns and the struggles and the pains and the limitations and the boulders that our industry talks about. And we, the team and I, create solutions as an opportunity to move away from those problems. Not everyone takes the leap. They love the idea of it, but they won't do it. But it's possible. Whether or not you can do it is one thing, but know that you're not doing it because you're stuck. It just had me rethink of actually what I was working on today. It reinvigorated me that it's okay to be different. No one expects you to be like everyone else. Our industry is really big on asking everybody else what they're doing so that we can copy what they're doing. The problem is you're often copying an unsuccessful procedure from unsuccessful people. They don't have it figured out yet, and they're struggling the same way you are. They just do it a little differently, and maybe you switch all over to that, and then it ends up not being the move. Find what works for you. Don't be so quick to make a change. Test stuff out, but don't change. But for what an unvalidated source has told you. Find some models that are working. Modify it, iterate it to where it fits your particular, business model. But remember that no one thought they could run a 4-minute mile until they did. And then everybody did it. So I just want to fire people up. We talk about restoration advisors. We coach on a lot of non-standardized things. We don't teach drying and restoration. Now we can, but there's just a lot of people that do that really, really well. But we like to teach things that give you life in your business, build your business so that it returns to you a life, a freedom, so that you can explore this world, so that you can do the bigger things that you may have been put on this planet to do. not to just work 70 hours a week in a company trying to put Band-Aids on stuff instead of fixing the bullet hole. Position your business to where it does what you need. You owe it to yourself. You risk everything to start your business. It doesn't matter if someone isn't going to like what you do. Find the people that do like it. Every pioneer, every innovator has had to go against the grain. This industry is broken in a lot of ways. So I would warn you to not look at continuing to do the same thing everybody else is doing. Find models outside of our industry. And if one of them is a retail mindset, there's some companies that are extremely profitable. I have actually consulted with some companies and built models that they were completely independent of insurance. They didn't talk to them. They didn't even consider them being existing. Might not be what you want to do, but it does exist. Employees that were all on commission and operated like owners of the company. They did not need project managers. The lead techs went out, signed the job up, did the work, collected, got margins, great pay, did not fluff the job. I mean, everyone tells me, says, I'm worried about people fluffing the bill at their own commission. Well, then you're hiring the wrong people. The right people don't do that. The right people know that there's enough money, there's enough jobs out there that we can be fair and honest to get repeat business. And they make good money doing it. That's the people you need. That's the 4-minute mile. It's possible. So thank you to Rebecca. Becca is what she said her name was. I now have a new friend. But we got on a phone call, by the way. She said, hey, I want to share this with you, that how our metamorphosis of our company has partially, in part, by just reading this first blog, this first article about the 4-minute mile to just challenge beliefs. It was really a cool phone call. I want to share with you. I guess the takeaway here is, besides doing that, you can do anything you want to do, is never forget that the people are watching you. If you're a leader, if you have integrity, if you're doing things right, you're setting an example and a model, whether you know it or not. People are watching. Employees, families, competitors. People are watching you. And if you're doing great stuff, they may not ever tell you, but they're taking inspiration, and they might even copy and steal it, which is okay. I don't care if anybody copies and steals anything I do. It's out there in the world. It's mine, but I'm not here to own it. I'm here to share it. So just remember that someone's always watching your integrity. So just remember that someone's always watching. So make sure that you do things worth seeing, and you do things worth of people replicating and making models. Don't do something that's not. So thanks for watching. Check us out at restorationadvisors.com. We have Restoration Business Academy. We teach and explore and share these types of things in our coaching, in our courses, and in our community. Restoration Business Academy is our centralized hub for all of those things. I invite you to come join. You can join for free for a sneak peek, a limited amount, but join our one of our membership levels. We've got some levels for all different sizes of companies to get different things, but it gets you access to a lot of different things, including our weekly coaching lessons. We have live coaching lessons of things like this. So you want to transform your company, transform yourself, transform your life and those around you. I invite you into my universe, Restoration Business Academy. If you've seen something I've created or my team's created or someone else has created and it has sparked a transition in your life, it's been pivotal, email me, clark@hay.com. Until then, see ya.